The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. When we hear of Captain Ibrahim Traore, we know there is good news. As other people are sitting down crying, and all they know about and what they know to do best is democratically governed. Before, Captain Ibrahim Traore said, to be a sovereign nation, you should be self-sufficient. Food is something that we can never do without. We have been here and people will eat and give us the surplus. Finally, as if he knew that a day will come that the USAID will be cut off. So he planned ahead. Captain Ibrahim Traore did an amazing job. According to Captain Ibrahim Traore, these prisoners need to also learn a skill. And we have this beautiful land. Africans, we are farmers. So why should we allow our brothers and sisters to be in prison and cell when we can allow them to also come and contribute their quota to the state? Captain Ibrahim Traore brought out the prisoners to help in the agriculture production. These prisoners did amazingly well. And after everything, when they were even doing it, they were doing it with joy. Because according to some of them that spoke, that they are also contributing to the nation. And they are glad that at the end of the day, when they are done with their service, they are also going back home with a skill that they can use to help themselves and the nation. Captain Ibrahim Traore took these inmates to the field, into the wheat, into banana, into rice, like maize, everything. So these people did extremely well. And when you see the produce after everything, it's marvelous. The Minister of State, the Minister of Agriculture, Fishery, and Human Rights Justice were all amazed when they visited Paporo Prison Center. It was mind-blowing. Before 8 months to Donald Trump coming into office to sign this executive order that they are no longer going to give anything to anywhere called Africa because they have very fertile land and all they sit down to talk about is democracy instead of them utilizing it. Captain Ibrahim Traore decided, what can I do? What will I do? Let me use these same prisoners who are also part of the society to contribute something to the society. When others are busy plotting against each other, and all that they do is how best they can rob the nation, Captain Ibrahim Traore is teaching them what leadership is all about. And instead of these leaders to finally put their pride down and learn, all they do is to be doing propaganda, sending people around, going to be asking him when he's going to allow people to vote.
Sir, it's time for our rendezvous on the trades of the land, and Burkina Television is getting into the agricultural spirit. As you can imagine, Burkina's prisons and collection centers are also involved in agricultural production. As you'll see, we're going to take a look at the Dugus in Vapolo and Agawa. But first, let's install our guest. Madam Monsieur, we're joined in this edition by Senior Penitentiary Security Inspector Suleiman Gerbourd. Inspector, bonsoir. Good evening, I have Vikana. Thank you for being here to address our concerns. The Penitentiary Security Inspector on Verbal Menace and the Director of Penitentiary Production and Vocational Training. They have a total of 17 years' experience in the prison service. Before becoming Director of Penitentiary Production and Vocational Training, they held other positions of responsibility, such as the position of Director of the Leo Prison and Collection Center, also Zignari, and many other positions, so it's with a man of experience that we're going to talk to this issue of agriculture to understand agricultural production in penitentiary centers. Inspector, before continuing with this program, we also took a tour of several collection houses. We saw the experience of agricultural production there. So we're going to take stock of the situation before moving on. This morning, when these Bapolo inmates meet up again, continue to the sorghum field, where the harvest has just begun. 80 tons of all crops are expected this year at the Vapolo Agricultural Production Center. We haven't achieved 100% of the results, but what we see, we think, and we're satisfied. We're all the more satisfied because, given the difficulties we've been through and the returns we expect, we can say that we're above average. We've been through droughts and floods. But despite everything, we're expecting a yield of around 80 canvases. So we think that, in any case, we've done our best, and we think that if the difficulties are overcome and the campaign gets underway, it'll be the wet campaign of the future. We can multiply these figures by 2, even 3, if not more. The Debigots Prison and Collection Center is also experimenting with open-air detention for the first time, with a view to increasing agricultural production. 17 inmates are put to work right from the start of the season. On the 16 hectares, 2 crops are produced. 5 hectares for corn and 11 hectares for sorghum. It's the last day of harvest for the Sorogo, under the gaze of the management of the prison and collection of Summer Dugo this year. Planted 2 crops, sorghum on 11 hectares and maize on 5.5 hectares. So at the start of the campaign, we set ourselves a target. Use 150 100-kilo bags. And all the while knowing that records east of 111 100 kilograms bags produced in 2022. But right now, we've exceeded our targets by not expecting 200 100-kilo bags on average. The Maison d'Ales at the Collection de Goa, currently 400 inmates strong, also produced during the Humide 2024-2025 campaign on this 10-hectare perimeter. Maize and sweet potatoes are chosen based on surface area. This year, this is mainly for potatoes, estimated at around 1 hectare. Corn is sown on 8 hectares. This year, as a technician, I'm personally not satisfied. In any case, I was hoping to surpass the results you've seen. At the moment, I estimate this result at 15 to 15 tons. That's for corn and 5 tons for potatoes. Every prison. From now on, we'll be increasing our acreage, diversifying our crops and growing off-season crops. But it's one thing to have ambitions, it's quite another to have the means to implement them. This is where expectations are high. 17 plots who were able to farm 16 hectares. With a production of 200 100-kilo bags, i.e. 20 tons, we could proceed by extrapolation. It's true that if we could help to increase the surface area, we could achieve great things, and there's no doubt that we'll contribute to food self-sufficiency in the Kinafacon pot. In addition to rising, the station is also increasing its power. We think that if we could provide a solar power supply, it would really enable us to be more self-sufficient. In the event of load shedding, we can work. And with global warming too, we think solar is an alternative to really enable us to achieve the objectives assigned to these centers. We want to know if the authorities can help us with a castle, water menu. We're an irrigation system. And to work properly in the dry season. Secondly, we would like the authorities to help us build premises. So much for prisoner housing. And then, to make surveillance easier, we can even place inmates there for work, and finally there's the means of transport. So, if we can win, we can have vehicles that are better suited to transporting documents. In the meantime, Didugu is benefiting from a borehole and an agricultural production facility provided by the presidential initiative.
The time for dependency is over.
The Vaporo Agricultural Production Center, meanwhile, benefits from a partnership with a private company to farm 80 hectares. During the dry season,
Ibrahim Traore deployed prisoners to farms
directors, come and follow them. What does the fact that we've also made observations in Dugus, Bapolo, and Goa inspire in you? Okay, thank you, Mr. Michael. Before I say anything else, allow me to thank the famous authorities from the Ministry of Justice. Monsieur le Ministre de la Justice, garde des six de très général de l'homme pénitentiaire in any case, who spared no thought to accompany us in any case. To come back to your question, we watched the documentary. And that's the real feeling of any prison manager, to say the least. Because, as you've heard, with the system that's just been launched, the wholesale offensive on the ethical calendar, essential initiatives for agro production on the past, ethical too, so we've effectively modeled, if not adapted, at least the principle to be able to boost our production in prisons too. So we're talking 80 tons. Well, for them 20 tons. There's also 20 tons of taste in Gawar. In view of the investment you've made, as Director of Agricultural Production and Vocational Training, are you satisfied with the results? Well, as a technician. Satisfaction? I'd say that if we're going down that road, there are plenty of parameters that may not have been met, because we should have gone further. When you farm an area with the given speculations, you've seen that they are technical. You have to have at least that much in at least 1 hectare, etc. But if we look at this consideration, we see that we're a bit. The average is respected, but we are indeed a little below expectations. But that doesn't mean we can't do better next year. And the people in charge, the inmates, and all these people are really motivated by the Court of Penitentiary Pollution. And if we stay with agricultural production, then what's the final destination? Okay, so prison pollution, as I say, has 3 components. There's prison pollution. In agriculture, there's animal pollution. There is also what we call pollution from workshops and sales of goods, i.e. what is produced. The destination of this production is clearly stated in the decree, and as I said, the decree will concern the management committee. So everything that's agricultural production when we finish the fields, everything that you see as production, there's a distribution key in kind. First of all, in kind, which means that 2/3 of production is marketed. 1/3 of the production from these fields is destined for consumption. Of course, we've seen the cases of Vapo, Dogo, and Gawa, but we know that agricultural production isn't only carried out in these penitentiary centers. There are many other centers throughout the production territory. What's the situation today? Agricultural production. Maybe we need to take a step back and also look at what was produced in 2023. In 2023, we harvested a total of 117 hectares from all the prisons, producing 58 tons. 117 hectares difference with 58 tons in 2023, for 2024. You've seen with everything we've seen, there's been a patriotic surge. We have also received support from the Ministry of Agriculture, particularly the Pastoral Water Offensive by the General Directorate of Plant Production and even the National Office for Major Projects. All these structures have lent their support to the administration so that we can boost prison pollution. And that's how we ended up in 2024, with a total of 274 hectares and an expected production of 260. And a few tons expected from cereals, not including market crops. All this is due to the foresight and support of the authorities, and to the policy put in place to boost prison pollution. As you pointed out with the Agropastoral and Haleutic Offensive and the Presidential Initiative for Agricultural Production, there have been agreements to support centers with a tradition of agricultural production. As Director of Agricultural Production, what are the identified shortcomings this year? So the shortcomings, as I say, are mainly threefold, as already mentioned. And then there are questions linked to the field. We don't have enough land or high surface area to expand as much as we'd like. We only completed 160 hectares this year, but we have potential to reach 1,000 hectares in the future. So we also a shortage of technicians affecting agricultural production. As you well know, we've already specialized at least 8 elements, 8 of whom have been trained at Matraque and 9 at Enhisa in agropastoral production. But that's enough, it doesn't cover all the prisons. The third component is mechanization. As you can see, everything we do is done by hand. Apart from tractors for plowing, we lack essential equipment like seed drills for large areas. These are the tools we need to speed things up, in terms of semis, maintenance, soil, terrain, and so on. This will enable us to go even further. So it's true that we are, as I said, supported by the agglomeration and agriculture where we had 50 hectares plowed free of charge. Well, even 160. The land was plowed free of charge, but chemical fertilizers were donated to produce on 50 hectares. This is really a gift from the Ministry of Agriculture to support potential pollution. So I think the difficulties we've already seen with the documentary, including everything we've said, I think there's no shortage, but it's not as alarming and it's going to create obstacles for us to move forward. We're going to move forward with what we've already got, and I believe that with the support of the authorities, we can do better. We haven't even reached half of the resources we want to make available to the population. So it's a real call to take a look at this production in college. And in any case, we really have some marvelous things to do. Over and above contributing to the production of food for prisons, contributing to the supply of food, or at least generating funds. How does prison production benefit prisoners? Yes, the point is it's also when we talk about prison work. So where did the skin of the penitentiary actually come from? But I think that a prisoner who sits in detention for 2, 3, 4 years without doing anything, I think that this person, we are nurturing in him nothing but laziness. But if we give him the opportunity to get out, to use his intelligence and physical strength to produce something that will serve him, since the resources we've produced will serve him anyway. He gets something out of it. First of all, is ensured his health and also, as you said, the principle of food production in prisons. Today, when we want prisoners to contribute to their own diet, it's necessarily through food production. When a prisoner goes out to work, rest assured that he's learning a trade at the same time. One last question before we listen to some inmates. What are the prospects for agricultural production? What are the prospects? And it's on the basis of the difficulties we're experiencing that we can perhaps plan ahead and also think about professionalizing penitentiary production. So when I don't professionalize, I first start to specialize the production zones. When you look at Vaporo today, which is specially designed for agricultural production on the ethical calendar, we can do it elsewhere. It's only the Barbolo that exists as an agricultural penitentiary center, whereas in the Court of Appeal of Bobo we can do it. In the Cour d'Appel de Fada, you can have ashes like that. Perhaps these two actually believe in the collaboration of landowners to make it available to large areas. We've also tried to get Sir Gubila to go 50 hectares, but that's not enough. 50 hectares is true, it could be a center, but when we talk about experience, we're talking about hundreds of hectares. That's 500. We're going to specialize the prisons, or houses of correction, which only go to Traore, in the issue of convicts to train them, and also the agricultural production centers to actually deal with the issue of agricultural production. So right now, we also need to specialize staff, which is also important. We need to mechanize the prison farms. That means sending out specific tools of what we call agriculture. For maybe we have the human resources, it's true, but if there are technical tools that can allow us to go faster and very well above all. So there you have it. So there are also new systems that we want to integrate into the prisons, into the agricultural production centers, particularly in terms of contract farming. What is contract farming? It will enable our Petnary centers to produce results. You've seen production centers enter into contracts with partners for contract farming. It's a matter of fact, and then we said that there's a part that's sold.
is the result
It's
of
not
the
that we're
presidential
selling it,
initiative
we're
for
selling
food
it.
self-sufficiency
It's about injecting
and
more into prison
agricultural
production.
offensive launched
So
by
if
the
we already
Ministry of
guarantee this source that we're going to sell to someone who's ready to buy, to someone who's ready to say, well, here are the resources, I can say that it's available so that we can produce on a large scale.
foreign aid again.
So it encourages even those who are going to work.
Eyes wide with excitement, shaking
This means
his
that we
head
can have
in
everything we need to work on time,
My people,
especially on
do you
time,
hear that?
with the
first
guarantee
time
of
in
being
history,
able to sell.
thanks to the
So we
bold
have
and
1
strategic
hectare of
decision
production,
of
and we
Captain
know that in
Ibrahim
1 hectare we
Traore,
necessarily have a
prisoners are
production
not just sitting
expectation of
idle
2 or
behind
3
bars.
tons.
No,
These are the
they are
results to
working.
be achieved.
They are cultivating.
So it's going to
They are
enable the
feeding
prison
nation.
states to achieve these
While other
results.
African leaders are lamenting the loss of USAID
That's if you make a
funding,
contractual
Burkina
result and the
Faso is
network
saying,
isn't reached.
no more.
Of
No
course,
more
it's
begging.
sensitive and
No
then,
more
well, it's
dependency.
going to be.
We will feed
Events
ourselves.
therefore to be avoided, even to reap the benefits of the shortcomings we've had to correct. So I think all these elements will enable us to move forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Director, for all these clarifications. I told you so. We've also heard from some prisoners. All right, we'll listen to them, okay, and then you can respond. What I would have preferred. I know the number of hectares of our field here. Well, even if we can't get any bigger, since we can say that this is almost all the area we farmed this year. So now what I'm asking for is that next year, if at all possible, we redouble our efforts, either in terms of fertilizers, in terms of work tools and personnel, that's it. So that the cat can give. Next year, the song can give more than this year. So you've been following the surgery? 2 first inmates. So that raises the question of inputs, which raises the question that next year, provide them with enough inputs, enough equipment. Yeah, we also need to reinforce the staff. So what do you say? Answering his question also means reliving the word. We need to professionalize prison production, leading to a contract and operating account. If you want to do in a field, then this shows you everything you need to cultivate that field. In terms of inputs, in terms of needs, in terms of everything you need to produce in specific areas. Can we guarantee that he'll have the answer to that? Of course we can. That's what we're working on. You'll see that starting in March or April, we're going to give this information to the people in charge of the prisons, so that they can give us real estimates, based on your meetings, of the causes of each activity. Naturally, there will be acreage requirements, human resource requirements and fertilizer requirements. And above all what he said and above all what he expects, because if you don't have an account of citizens at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the campaign, you can't even know how much fertilizer to bring to a field. How much fertilizer will we need to do it? We're going to get into the field when we haven't even quantified or got an idea of what we're going to put into the field. So the solution is to make arrangements to have all the information at the start of the year, at the start of the campaign. So, Mr. Director, let's move on to the second speaker, shall we? I hope we can get some support. After that, our present is that we're going to undertake here, so that we can be supported outside.
It is a reality. And for that,
So that we can practice the trade against by learning here. Here is perhaps material.
Thank you for your leadership.
No,
And to the
maybe?
rest of Africa, wake up. The time for
Advice, in any
dependency
form
is
of
over.
support only.
Burkina
Human
Faso,
beings need that to overcome
more
certain
foreign aid.
things.
the
Yes,
revolution
I'd
is
like to
here.
see support not just for him, but for the other inmates
Now,
too.
Burkina Faso's
Because,
president,
as we
Captain
said,
Ibrahim
prison
Traore,
production also
deployed
means
prisoners
training.
to farms 8
He wants
months
to be
before
supported when they get out of
US
prison
President
so that he can
Trump's
settle down,
USAID
because he
withdrawal.
does too. So he can look forward to a solution to his
Promote food
concern.
autonomy of Burkina Faso detention and correctional homes.
The solution is already
Ministers-
there. Already there, eh? As part of the job creation we've been hearing about, from the training courses we'll be running with the training references that will soon be available.
Commander Ismail Sombi,
When you
and
leave
Minister
prison,
of
you have to
Justice,
come out with a
Human
well-drafted
Rights,
project
in
based on the
charge
training
of
you've received in
institutional
detention at the
relations.
time, with support in
Mr.
terms of
Ndasso
installation
Rodrigue
kits.
Bayala visited the agricultural field of Baporo
So that
Prison
can also
Center
be the
on
source.
February 7th,
So the solution is there, the solution is there.
Initiative for Food
With this good news, we're going to breastfeed. Thank you for joining us. We were with the Senior Penitential Security Inspector on Gerboard Miles. He's the Director of Prison Production and Vocational Training. Thank you for joining us. See you next month for another edition of your program on Earth Professions.
Vote. You know, they put food on the table. Your people are hungry under democracy. They are always on the streets demonstrating about hardship, about food, what to eat. It's not about the one bag of rice that you give to your people when they come out to demonstrate that matters. How long will these food feed your people? The farmland is something that even the eye, what the drone brought out. And when the people were even harvesting the food, they were harvesting it with joy. Everybody is proud. Even the people themselves, the prisoners themselves were so proud. Captain Ibrahim Traore isn't just sleeping. He is teaching people what leadership is. He's teaching people how to govern. He's teaching people who are refusing to learn. And all they are thinking about is how to help Yolo Popo to continue to be looting the nation. He is teaching you what governance is, what leadership is. So, the rest of you that are still sleeping and you don't want to learn, we are saying, we're pressing not to make us self-sufficient. We have been dependent on people for ages. And that is why wherever you go as leaders, nobody regards you. Because you don't have anything to offer, any value to give to the world. You don't have anything to sell. You should have a product that you are giving out to the nation. As you are wailing because the USAID in the guise of helping you when we know actually what this organization is doing underground, he is putting and preparing Burkina Faso to face whatsoever that will come the way of Burkina Faso. We know that even if USAID isn't cut, there are certain times that there will be epidemics and other things that will happen. How are you preparing yourselves? Are you always going to sit down folding your arms for people to come and feed you? Can't you do something for yourselves? Burkina Faso isn't like that. Our all in all, the savior, the protector, the unifier, the king of kings, the most loved, is always a step ahead of all of you. Put your pride aside and learn from this energetic and brilliant leader. So, we have to put people into use. The human resources need to be put to use. Those prisoners we have locked up, and all we do is send them out to go and be doing these small, little jobs, and at the end of the day, they are getting coins. That's not what they need to be doing. We can use them to feed ourselves. Instead of us waiting here in peace and still be going to Ukraine to import maize, let us use these people to bring something meaningful to the economy. Captain Ibrahim Traore is bringing everybody on board to support, contribute and develop the nation. And this is what matters, not democracy that hasn't given us anything but pain and looting. That's not all that matters, our leaders. We are saying stop sleeping, stop helping the oppressor. So downgrade Africa. You those who do not care how we lose our lives on the Mediterranean Sea, how we are treated worldwide. Captain Ibrahim Traore is telling you that the African need to be treated right, and because we don't have the right policies, the right things that we are doing, that is why we are treated anyhow. So we have to be self-sufficient. We have to prove to these people that we are capable of managing our own affairs, like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said. So those of you who still want to be beggars, you can continue to be beggars, but stop meddling in the affairs of Burkina Faso when they have gotten what they call a leader. You those who are sleeping, wake up, oh, wake up. Those who are holding democracy as if it is the breath, the air that we breathe, and we are hungry, we are telling you, learn from Burkina Faso. This is amazing. Surplus, abundance of harvest. and they are even giving it out to you. You are not even ashamed. And after that, you still see them be telling them how they are not democratically governed. Yet they are able to feed themselves. They are able to produce what they eat. They are not sitting down folding their arms and crying that United States of America decided to cut USAID. Some of you are collapsing. From that day that Trump mentioned this, you have never known peace. Leadership is not about one particular or one system of governance. Leadership is what you, the leader, have to offer your people. What you are bringing on board to take off the pain, the burden on your people, to safeguard and protect the natural resources, to make sure that what belongs to the people get access to it. Not those of you who are looting the nation, the continent, and saving it with yellow purple, and at the end of the day, you still will not have access to it. That's not what we call leadership, and that is not the kind of leaders we still want. We, the people in Africa, the youth, we are telling you, the old ones that are putting policies 50, 60 years, when you know you are not going to be there, that ours is tomorrow. The future is not for us tomorrow. The future, we are living it now, so we need things to be done now. So learn from Captain Ibrahim Traore. Stop always telling us how we should be democratically governed. Democracy is not what is giving us what we want. Democracy has been the tool that is always bringing division, that is making us to lose the power that we have. And these people are giving us power back, because he who feeds you controls you. Captain Ibrahim Traore said, we want to feed ourselves so that nobody sits somewhere to control us, because they feed you with USAID, and that is why these people are able to command you and treat you anyhow. This must stop. What they do to you, they can never do to Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And we, the people, are not willing to join your democratic governance anymore. We are tired, because Africa has been looted. Africa has been destroyed under the guise of this democracy you always preach. If you have nothing else to offer, we, the people of Africa, stop preaching democracy to us. Let us choose the leaders that we want, for them to come and lead us. Whether whoever we decide that can come and help us, that's not your business. But don't always come in the name of democracy when we are dying, when we are starving, when we are being looted, when we are being destroyed. Today they are deporting Africans everywhere, rejecting visas. Even your chief of staff and what have you in Nigeria have been refused a visa. You thought they were only going to do it to the citizens. Now it's getting back to you, the politicians. If you were self-sufficient, if you were truly independent, what they do to us, they wouldn't be able to do to us. When they were doing it to the citizens, you thought it is only the citizen. You are first class. You are first class. You are this. With the kind of positions you have, you are always exempted. But these people told you that you are nothing before them. And instead of you to put that pride aside and do something meaningful for us and the continent, you are still here sending people, doing propaganda, helping yellow papa who doesn't recognize it. Oh, we are so blessed. Long live Burkina Faso. Long live Captain Ibrahim Traore. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. So please, let's keep sharing and educating our brothers and sisters. Together we'll fight for a better Africa for the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.